Hi, Tito. I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. My name is Yana. I am a psychologist and an active mental health advocate. And I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to Wednesday mental health days activities. We'll be having conversations on mental health. We'll have two panelists. One is Liz Nyawera, and the other one is Joel, who will be our two representative of the day. So I don't know if Joel, you're in the house, kindly unmute and say hi to us. And we'll be learning much more on suicide awareness and prevention. And I welcome us all to contribute and share insights in regards to suicide. Tukisubiria Liz na Joel wajiintroduce, nitatuomba hapo kwa chat box. We just how do we create awareness on suicide? No, the theme of 2020 is changing narratives on suicide awareness and prevention. So that's why I'm welcoming you to be part of the individuals who are changing these narratives by sharing how do we prevent and create awareness on suicide. Thank you. Liz, welcome to Community.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Lisbeth Nyawira, a counseling psychologist, awaiting graduate from Thika School of Medicine and Health Sciences. And my master started very well, especially in Minani County, Kirinyaga, where I'm practicing my profession. Thank you so much for joining us as we discuss on suicide prevention.
Thank you so much, Liz, for that. We welcome Joel also unmute and say hi.
Hello, everyone. I had said hi when we started, but I'll just do it again. My name is Jewel. I'm a psychologist. Hello. Can you get me? Hello.
Hello, Joel. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. As I said, I had already said hi, but I'll do it again. Hello, everyone. My name is Jewel. I'm a psychologist student and I'm a mental health advocate, and I also create content on mental health. You can search me up. My social media handles are Jewel Obed, and I'm honored to be part of the panelists today discussing suicide prevention and just creating awareness around the topic. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Joel, for that. And we're really honored to have you and everyone who has joined us for the discussion. So, as I mentioned, we'll be learning on suicide awareness and prevention. And the very first question I would love to say to Liz, who can share with us what suicide is. I know we all know suicide nini, but we need to hear it probably from a professional aspect. And maybe Joel can follow in later with inform us on how to know suicide. Karibu sana Liz. And session is not only for the panelists, you are also invited to contribute.
Thank you so much, Kenya. When you talk about suicide, this is an intentional act. Like you find out that it is important to approach this topic with a very empathetic manner. And hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yeah. So it is very important to approach the word suicide with a very empathetic manner. And when you talk about suicide, it is just an act, it is an intentional act which causes one's own death. like you kill yourself, and it often results of maybe overwhelming feelings of hopelessness, you're desperate, or maybe you have a mental illness such as depression or anxiety. And maybe suicide can be a response to a wide range of factors. And some of the factors that maybe causes one to take is his or her own death is maybe because of personal factors, social factors, psychological or cultural issues. That is what maybe suicide is in short.
Thank you so much, Liz, for sharing that. And yeah, sure. Suicide generally, basically, tunaweza sema ni ile when someone takes his or her own life. At times it could be intentional, and at times maybe one can be driven by various factors. Welcome, Jewel, to share with us on how do we know someone is suicidal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Kenya and Liz. So that has the intention of taking their own life. The one you can tell from how they speak will directly, and the others will say it indirectly. Will say, "I wish I was dead," or "I want to kill myself or end it all." Other indirect statements could be like, "You guys would be better off without me," you know? So you can tell from someone's speech and to note what are they speaking, and that would be a direction that they have the intention of killing themselves. And then behavioral changes. You can tell that someone has these thoughts and has this intention when one is increased role, avoid friends, family, social activities. Notice that they shift from who they used to be. If they used to be someone who wants to be around people, you notice that they are withdrawing. And another behavioral change is you might realize self-harm. They might start themselves or banning themselves with the intention of unaliving themselves. And another behavioral change is risk-taking behaviors. There was a video that was trending last week of a young man who was threatening to throw himself off a building if a certain station would him. Such risk-taking behaviors and reckless activities can be a behavioral change that someone is suicidal. Another aspect is emotional indicators. Someone who has extreme mood swings, which are rapid and they're very intense. That is a very high sign of suicide. And another point on emotional indicator is hopelessness. They feel a persistent feeling of despair, worthlessness, and a lack of purpose. Now, when it comes to practical things, you might find this person is preparing for their own death. For example, you'll find them giving away prized possessions. You find them making a will or organizing personal affairs because they know what they are going to do. And then acquiring means of killing themselves, like obtaining items such as medications if they want to overdose, or substances they want to use to unalive themselves. Now, in the physical symptoms, this individual will have unexplained physical complaints like chronic pain, fatigue, or other physical issues without a clear cause. And as I mentioned earlier, there's isolation. And these are just some of the symptoms that if you hear having these signs, there is a very high chance that they're having suicidal ideations or they want to take their own lives. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I really, really appreciate. And now that you've mentioned the aspect of family, suicide prevention, maybe I'll invite Liz to tell us what's the contribution of family and friends when it comes to suicidal awareness and prevention.
Okay, thank you so much, Kenya. Supporting someone who may be experiencing suicidal thought is very important and it's a very crucial thing. It definitely brings a very good significance, importance to the client or to the whoever who wants to commit the suicide. What families and friends can do is that they can give them is by maybe listen to them without judgment. Allow the person to maybe express their feelings, their thoughts without interrupting them or even judging them. Be patient and show them empathy, letting them know that you care and you're there to offer the support. Another thing as a friend or maybe as a family member is you encourage open communication, open and honest communication. Make sure that you've created a safe space for the person to talk about their emotions. Let them know it is okay to share whatever they are going through and that they don't have to face it alone. Show them that you're there to give them a shoulder to lean on. Another thing is you maybe, take their feelings seriously. Sometimes you may find out that they are just talking and then unapata mtu wako like, hiyo yako na wewe, hapana, like you auchukulii ikiwa serious. Maybe someone is mentioning about committing suicide and then unasema hapana, huwezi fanya kitu kama hiyo. You take their feelings seriously. Like every statement that wame mention, take it seriously. Never dismiss ama you minimize their feelings. If they express their thought of suicide, just take them serious. Acknowledge the situation and now let them know that maybe their feelings, whatever that they're feeling, is valid. Another thing that you should do is, as a friend, ask direct questions to them now. If in any case you suspect someone is suicidal, it's okay to ask them direct questions about their thoughts. For example, unaweza uliza, are you thinking about hurting yourself? Ama do you want to die? This is an open conversation. And why do you think you want to die? What is making you feel you're tired of maybe living? Through that ataongea and you'll be able to understand the reason as why they want to commit suicide. Another important thing when it comes to suicidal things is you encourage professional help. Really, you suggest if they can maybe visit a mental hospital, they see the mental health professionals such as psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors, whereby now watapata the mental status examination so that the professionals will be able to know the real cause of these suicidal thoughts. If it's a mental illness, itahandoliwa vizuri. If it's personal thing, itaweza kuwa handled vizuri sana. And then be present. Really, you be there every time. Sometimes just being there is enough. Spend time with them, whether in person or virtually, keep calling them, regular check-ins, even though a simple text ama call, hiyo ni poa, it can provide reassurance. Back to you, Kenya.
Thank you so much, Alice, for that. I really believe that we've gained in ways where we as family and as friends can actually assist individuals experiencing suicidal ideations. And even before we continue to the next question, I wanted to highlight on suicide, there is what we call contemplating suicide. This is when you just think about it. And when individuals are contemplating suicide, that's when the planning comes up. Maybe they plan to throw themselves off a building, will give an example, probably overdose, maybe self-harming. So these plans vary from one person to another. And it's very important that whenever we're asking them questions or whenever we're trying to know and understand. Let us not interrogate, but actually make them feel that you're interested in knowing whatever is going on around them. And then now also knowing what was your plan. Because it's from this plan that you will know maybe alikuwa amenunua dawa. It is from this plan that you will know that maybe alikuwa amepanga hivi na hivi. And then again, it's very important that we also make them feel loved and appreciated. Because right now, if I ask you, how are you? You tend to tell me that I'm fine. Juu kusema niko poa, niko fiti, it's normal. Then for me to actually tell you siko fiti, I have to be made feel that I am valued, whatever I'm saying, it's not just by the way. And now Liz has mentioned the aspect of creating safe environment, which is very important. Like in the support chat box, I want us to engage and share. How do we generate this safe environment? How do we make someone feel that the space they're in, it is a safe space? And thank you for individuals who are contributing hapo kwa chat box, where we've seen a fact also that not all suicide clients actually isolate themselves. Some are very happy. They go to work on a day-to-day basis. They smile, they engage, and you never know things are not okay until you hear that so and so actually isn't there anymore. And Musili has also asked, what should I do if I think someone is in immediate danger of suicide? I welcome Jules to share with us much more. If someone probably you've wanted to find out how they are and they confide in you that actually they are suicidal, what are you supposed to do in that particular manner? Should I panic? Should I call people? What am I supposed to do?
Okay, thank you, Kenya. So to answer your question, when someone confides in you that they want to take their own life, how you respond, number one, don't be judgmental and offer a positive and safe space and let them know that you are there to support them and that they do not need to take their own lives because there is still hope, because at that moment when they confide in you, they are feeling hopeless. So when you find yourself in this situation, it's important that you, as the individual who is being confided in, or you, as the individual who has noticed that someone is kind of in a compromising situation, approach them with care and genuine concern so that they feel like perhaps I can trust this person and I can trust what they are saying. And it's also important that if you are aware of someone who can help professionally, then connect them with someone who can take them through therapy or counseling in order to help them manage these kinds of thoughts. Because when it comes to suicide and suicidal ideation, there are different levels before someone finally gets to a point where pull the trigger or they poison themselves. So there are other aspects where the person is far too gone, and just talking to them and telling them that do this or don't lose hope might not work. Even in counseling, it's advised that when a patient wants to harm themselves, at that point, you are allowed to break confidentiality. And this also includes suicide. So direct them to where they will find immediate help or call for help on their behalf so that their life can be saved. Because in different aspects, you don't know at what stage this person is at. So talking to them and reminding them that life is still worth living and that they should not give up, that would work for someone who is not in like the stage where they don't want to listen to anyone, they just want to take their own life. But yeah, so in that situation, you are advised to seek professional help for them. Yeah. Back to you, Kenya.
Thank you a lot for sharing that, Joel. And whenever we're looking at confidentiality and mental health assistance, as she mentioned, we're not supposed to break confidentiality. Hivyo mtu akwambia kuna tatizo tu simsema seme, but you're supposed to break confidentiality whenever you know that this person might be in danger or they might be at a place where they might harm others. So it's important to also be proactive and want to find out. And in the house, we also have a very active mental health advocate. His name is Mick Bengat, and I will welcome him to assist us with a crucial aspect. Whenever we're looking at mental health issues, not only suicide, but depression and other related factors, there is the aspect of stigma. And then research also shows that when it comes to men, they're more likely to commit suicide than women. And because maybe naweza kuwa nimepanga kitu and we're just chatting with my friends, I might forget and give an hint. Or I might even end up sharing with them and we come up with strategies on how to solve the issue. And as we all know that suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. But then to most men, actually, they don't talk about it. And whenever they are planning or they are contemplating suicide, actually, their plans at times could be more concrete than women. And welcome, Mr. Mika, to share with us on how do we handle this issue of stigma? Because it's not like we do not know stigma is wrong. I believe that each and every one of us here knows that stigma is right. But still, it's propagated, maybe by me, maybe by you. So, how do we manage this stigma?
Okay, thank you so much, Kenya, for giving me an opportunity to contribute on how to navigate stigma around suicide and mental health and vulnerability. So we've come a long way. We've come a long way in ensuring that we are breaking the stigma. And one of the key achievements that we have that we can look back to is where we have platforms like this where we can talk about it. The first place is when we can at least talk about it. And it's almost the same as getting someone who is resistant to come along to a realization that this is helpful and this is something to be embraced. I've seen the way couples would actually take someone who is initially resistant to approach mental health and vulnerability and make them to embrace these ideas of seeking professional help. And one of the ways is to just probably uh, make make it like making it like a norm is, for example, sharing attending this workshop. There is a webinar around health. Would you mind joining me? And then you become a fast uh, reference to a particular thing, giving it a fight. So I've seen that works a lot, especially when it comes to tagging along someone who might not necessarily uh, feel the impetus to approach and take up mental health, and especially from the category that I represent, the men. It might not be motivating enough, but then if you have people who they can look up to, and these people can actually tag them along and say, let's tune in this particular conversation, and by them tuning in and just be part of the listening group, they can actually see that, oh, and this is what we talk about in counseling and psychology. We call it insights. Every time something comes to your attention and you give it your focus, and you're listening it, even if it's just casual, just like, okay, just listen to this and listen to this as you're going home. And then so as someone listens to this conversation, there is something called insights. Insights is a very particular personal experience where something mentioned uh, hits you at a very personal level, and so that is what that is what I am thinking would be a good place to get people to embrace mental health and overcome stigma in the long run. Back to you again, Kenya.
Thank you so very much for sharing that. It's very, very insightful. And I really hope that you guys have learned. I mentioned that there is what I can do, there's what you can do from wherever place you are in. It's very important that tagging someone, related to hata kama hatakuwa active, but they will learn something. I'm very sure that if I sit in a meeting today and we talk about self-care, we talk about seeking assistance, I sit in another meeting at the very same thing, I'll be interested to want to find out why is it important that we're talking about these things. At the end of the day, I'll actually get to learn and start practicing them. And I would also love to welcome Moses in regards to social media. We know that we're really trying to create awareness from wherever part that we are in. Especially this month, I know there'll be a lot of sensitizations on suicide prevention. And as young people, as a generation that is slowly, not slowly actually, very fast transiting to online and social media, how do we leverage on the very same as a way of awareness on these issues? Moses, are you in a position to unmute?
Hi, yeah. Hey guys, I'm Moses Ginwith, Moses Kinyanjay or Kinyan. I'm an addiction counselor. And to answer Nina's question, yeah, we can use social media as a tool to advocate and destigmatize suicide. Given the nature of the topic, more people to avoid speaking up on suicide as it's inviting bad luck, like inviting death into the community, into their lives. However, much every other major issue, it's very important to make awareness of it, you know, shine light into this issue as more people get to be aware of the underlying causes or factors lead to suicide. As someone earlier on said, one of the signs of suicide is the statements and tendencies of death, or such remarks like, "You'll be so much better." Some jokes you may see on Twitter or any app, like side, chair, shopkeeper change, such jokes. I may use social media like keep such. I also use social media to highlight other issues that are related to suicide, like depression, anxiety, traumas, sexual abuse, domestic violence. We may use this tool that we have in our hands to keep people informed, to be on the lookout, and to as well deal with the underlying factors before they lead up to suicide. Those are my thoughts. Thank you.
For sharing that, Moses, it's really appreciated. And it's also mentioned by sharing insights. When you look at mental health, we all have different strategies of coping. And I know most of these things actually on Google too. Information. So let us leverage on social media and let us keep on encouraging and actually supporting mental health advocacy. And I repeat again, at times we really would want to see the change, but change is you and me. So what you do and what I do is actually what will lead to the sensitization that you're talking about. Napo kwa chat box naona tumechangamka. Thank you for that. So we are having Collins Peter's question was answered, and Scholastic is saying that she believes safe environment start with creating rapport, and now we approach in the first place, which is very, very important. Collins also adds that suicide is preventable, and that is by understanding the factors that contribute to it and how we can intervene in meaningful ways. It's crucial that we educate the public about warning signs and empower them to act when they see someone in distress. And I really hope that we've learned the warning signs and what do we do if we find out someone is suicidal. And you also insist that you be there for people. Peter also adds the aspect of open communication, emotional support, if create a supportive network, encourage professional help, and also physical safety. And so there's a question from Scholastica was asking if it's true men fairly die by suicide. Aha, Joani watu wamushene. All right, statistic shows that's quite right. When you look at suicide rate, it's quite high when it comes to men than it is to women. But I'm optimistic that with this awareness and sensibilizations that we might have a reduction of them. And I want to welcome Jill to share with us just before we get to the Q&A session. Now that we've talked about an individual who is experiencing or how do we assist someone who is suicidal, what about you as a caregiver? Because I know it might not be easy. We might talk to someone today and 3 months down the line, they relapse back at it. And at times we actually really bent in assisting someone that you forget about yourself. So what are the self-care practices for someone who is a caregiver to an individual experiencing suicide?
Thank you. Yeah, that's true. For anyone who is experiencing suicidal ideation or suicidal thoughts or wants to kill themselves, there are people around them. There are people or like best friends, there are people like family who they might find safe enough to confide in. And in the instance where this person is their only safe space, then the caregiver, if they're not careful, then their mental health can be negatively because they might also start feeling hopeless because they're like, I'm talking to this person, but why is this suicidal ideation not going away? They are going into therapy and such things, but why is recovering as fast as I thought? So first of all, you always take care of your mindset as a caregiver. If you're in contact with someone who is experiencing suicidal ideation in any form or in any stage, make sure that you take care of your mindset and your own positive self-talk, how you talk to yourself, and your perception about this individual comes from how you yourself have comes from how you yourself prioritize your mental health. So it's important that you expose yourself to maybe podcasts or to things that will improve your mental health, because at this point you can also easily be affected and you can also easily find yourself in a depressive loop if you're not careful. And also see things from a positive light. Also take time to have fun yourself and prioritize your happiness. And when you feel that, okay, this is now too much, it is okay to draw healthy boundaries with people, because boundaries help us create safe space. And it is also important that if you feel that it is too overwhelming, or also seek professional help for the one you're taking care of if they need it. And this will help you, cope with this situation in a much healthier way, because also the opposite is true. You can feed into negative stuff, especially from social media, that will make you discouraged, depressed. You can seek drug and substance abuse. Those things will help you cope for just a moment, but in the long run, you end up deep and deep into a depressive loop. But if you seek to take care of yourself in a more positive way, take care of your body. What are you eating? Exercise, because it helps, produce good hormones in your body that make you feel happier. It will just help you that even though you are the one taking care of this individual, you're also okay. So in short, don't let go of yourself. Yeah. Back to you, Kenya.
Thanks so much, Ajil, for that. I hope we've all learned something. It's very important to be there for others, but it's also very important to be there for you. And also, what she mentioned, inspiring. At times, you have an individual friend whom you've really been trying to assist for several times. Remember, as a professional, the least that you can do is psychological first aid. But at times, it's important that you refer someone so that they can actually get professional help and professional assistance. And I'll welcome questions from the audience. We have professionals in the house, as you've seen. It's not only pandemic. We also have counselors and psychologists and active mental health advocates with us. So if you have a question, I would really suggest that we take this time to ask these questions. Do not go away with your question kindly. If I need to hear you. Yeah, if you're not in a position to unmute, you can also utilize the chat box. So as I wait for someone to unmute and ask a question, there's a question from Counselor. And the question reads, is suicide awareness? Sorry, in a minute. And Diana has also texted something. She's part of the lead YMCA team, and she was giving light on what we did today for them who've joined us after to give us an introduction. This is Monday webinar series. I host every Monday we have conversations. The very first Monday of the get mental health awareness. And in this particular session, we explore concrete strategies to empower people. While the is mental health, we also have for sensitization, we have for them who love dance and also podcasts. And you're very welcome to join our membership training on 14th. If you would want to be part of us, and equally even please do text us. Si lazima WhatsApp, hata SMS too. We'll definitely attend to you. Is suicide genetic? Is genetic? I'll have to welcome Mika to respond to that kindly. Thank you.
Well, yeah, that question is tricky. No, mental health, to some small degree, is inherently running in families. Sometimes when we do diagnosis, we tend to look at the family, and we would like to understand if there has been an history of family situation of a attempted murder or successful murder, not murder, suicide. And every time when we are looking at the history of someone in terms of like if there is a family thing like that, it's because some of these things runs in the family. There is something that motivates a person to see that, well, if my member of a family had done something like that successfully, I think this is family. Then sometimes someone can uh, it can be explained that to a small degree some of the mental, like, and I'm not talking about necessarily the suicidal ideation. I'm talking about other we call them co-occurring conditions. We're talking about some of the other comorbidities. Comorbidities are diseases or other underlying conditions that might precipitate or make someone to attempt suicide or to attempt suicide as an easy option for exit for solutions, like the way Kenya says, using it to solve temporary problems, but with a very permanent, with a permanent, with a permanent situation, like taking your life. So, anyways, it is a philosophical question. You've asked a question that I believe even professionals and medical practitioners will never agree. It can be taken into a debate, and I believe that is just my 2 cents on that.
Thank you for sharing that, and I hope that my question has been answered quite well. Because myself, I would also say that there are various causes to suicide and suicidal ideations, and it could be, it could not be. And we see that mental health is broad, and one factor alone could not be considered. So I believe that the question has been answered appropriately. And he also adds that to prevent suicide, we also need to teach resilience to learners, which is very, very true. Especially at the face of difficulties, we need to learn to persist. Na usitulie tu hapo, especially mwanaume, because it's resilient. We need to know now do I need to talk to get assisted. And there's a question from Peter who says, now how can communities and schools work together to raise awareness on suicide prevention? I welcome Liz to answer that. From communities and schools, how do they work together? Hi, Liz. Well, I think she isn't in the meeting, which is very okay. So I welcome Jill to respond to that. How can communities and school systems work in suicide creation?
Okay, thank you. Yeah. So I think the main aspect is creating awareness and reducing stigma around it. So by community allowing mental health work in schools to raise awareness and to teach the children about the science of suicide, and also to teach teachers and just people who are around the community so that the stigma and the lack of information about suicide reduces. And so this can be achieved, as I've mentioned, allowing mental health professionals to come in and raise awareness about it. Yeah, back to you, Kenya.
Hi, Kenya.
Hi.
In addition to what schools and maybe community can also do is maybe through collaboration and partnership, we can the schools can do school community partnership, whereby they'll do collaboration between schools and community organization to enhance suicide prevention. And then the schools and maybe the community can maybe do something to do with maybe parental involvement, the guardian involvement, whereby now they will of the guardians in suicide prevention through education, all schools activities to create a safe environment at home and at school.
Thank you for sharing that, Liz. Collaboration and partnerships are very important just to assist us to actually to wider audience. And I believe that through collaborations and partnerships, we're actually able to directly influence so very many lives. I welcome Moses to say hi. And I he's raised his hand as well, ndatuambie kitu. Welcome.
Hello, guys. Okay, my name is I'm a counseling psychologist at Moya Serenity Counseling and Treatment Center, working huku Kagio, Kirinyaga County. So one thing I want to say about suicide is that lazima tukue makini na hawa watu ambao wako na hizi suicide ideation. By these people they just speak, wengi wao wanaongeanga kama jokes tu. Anasema, unajua mimi naweza jitoa, cheka tu na wao. So if you're not very careful, in psychology we say there is nothing like slip of the tongue. Unaona mtu mnaongea kwa mtu na story, anasema mimi najitoa. Serious. Everything inatoka kwa mtu sana about suicide kujitoa. You should take it. And then there is this thing of witnessing kwa rehab about psychiatric patient. Most of them suicidal ideation, when you get to ask them, wanasema ni sauti inawaambia. So maybe there the society, because most people when you kwanga na suicide ideation, when you're drugs, maybe these people, the community, about this mental condition. So kule sema jitoe uhai, kinguvu, the community wanaona like it's just a joke, but deep to maybe it's under foundation ya huyo mtu is a training which is very dangerous. So much was we as counselors or as psychologists, we have to educate the community mental health conditions that are associated with suicide. For example, to schizophrenic patients, to avoid mmoja lazima ajitoe uhai. So this information we should educate the general public with the idea.
Thank you so much for bringing that on board. It's very, very important. And it's what I really love to say, especially when we look at individuals facing mental health illnesses. If you really want to change them as a person to be, because if it's a psychotic patient, we label them, we ignore them, we isolate them, it actually worsens the situation. How to put them in a better way and in an appropriate manner, it actually gets to assist them. And also now, not taking everything as a joke, it's very serious to some individuals. Especially when we look at mental health illnesses, they distort reality, they tamper with, how we perceive and how we see things. So this person is mentally ill, and that is why the ability to make decisions is quite. And actually, you might think it's a joke, but they are serious. Thank you for that.
I have a follow-up in addition to what Councillor Moses said regarding areas. There is a question that was posted about how do you differentiate whether a client is seeking attention or seriously meaning that they want to take their lives, especially are in the social media posting about how they have been contemplating suicide. So the answer, the political the politically correct answer is to take someone seriously, even if they are asking for attention. And the reason for that is because, like the way Kenya has mentioned, is that we never trivialize any matter, especially if someone mentioned something in therapy, we never take it lightly. Like a phobia of snakes, it could be very much. That is so scary. And then another person has a phobia of cockroaches. So we never trivialize and say, it's cockroaches. So it is not taking, it's taking seriously what client says, whether it is serious or not. At the end of the day, you'll have turned your good part as a counselor or as a mental health enthusiast that have joined this meeting today. And another thing that is coming up from all this conversation is mindful of the language that we are trying to champion conversations around mental health and focusing on the language. There are vocabularies. When we use them, we are, in other words, we thinking we are fighting stigma. We are actually reinforcing it. Like a subtle statement like there is shame in looking at mental health. Why do you have to include the word shame in your language? Like, why don't you just eliminate that vocabulary uh, from your wordings? No, but then it it reinforces mental health stigma without plan. Anyways, that are my additional.
I appreciate the language bit. So much for bringing it up. It's very important actually to be mindful of how we communicate around it. As I mentioned, they are mentally ill and they really pay attention to each other. So it's important to be mindful of what we say around them and how actually we respond, because right. And I'd ask guys, is mass killing allowed in Kenya? That's what Scholastica was asking with the aspects of voluntary euthanasia. Is it allowed? Maybe at Moses you could shed some light on that. At Moses Kinyanjui, as
No,
we went up.
it's illegal in Kenya.
Thank you. Thank you for that. I wasn't aware myself. So, at Scholastica, mass killing is legal in Kenya. It's not allowed. And yeah, Diana has also said that the emphasis on die by suicide and commit suicide, and also some signs of suicide unaweza pia anticipate, like ukiona mtu wa kazi, bibi ameenda, loan imechukuliwa, loan inachukua mali yake. Those stressors, yeah, stress that actually push individuals to contemplate suicide, and it's as we make individuals feel hopeless, they feel helpless, they feel worthless. Yeah, so it's important to be aware of these activities and how they get to affect our well-being. I really want to appreciate each and every one of us who has taken time to sit in with us during this conversation. Everyone who has contributed, really appreciate. It's my hope that everything we've learned, we actually won't just keep quiet with it, but we actually implement it and share with individuals who haven't joined such a conversation. Let us leverage on our social media so that we can also it is through your effort, through my effort, through somebody's effort that we create awareness on these illnesses and conditions. I welcome Diana. I'm not quite sure if she's able to unmute so that she can get to say hi to us, and also welcome Mr. Chris to say hi just before we end the webinar. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I hope I'm very audible. Kindly Kenya confirm? Sawa sawa. So my name is Diana Mogo. I support in mental health program. I appreciate our panelists for the insightful conversations and also emphasis. Also to our audience, Mika karibu sana. You're our household counselor. So every Monday we have a webinar on different topics, mental health, gender-based violence, sports, peace, youth and peace and security. So if you wish to be a member of OIM, kindly reach out to me or Kenya. Also, we have membership training on 14 September, which entails on learning more about YMCA, which youth programs you can participate. So briefly, I will give some few time to Tito to conclude our meeting. Thank you so much.
Team Kenya and the team. Maybe you can give a round of applause using our online clubs. Yeah, thank you. I can see some very good clubs there. Asanteni sana. I don't know if Chris is still in the house. Chris?
Yes, Tito, thank you.
Yeah, you can say a word before we wind up.
Yeah, mine is sincere appreciation to the team that organized such a powerful webinar and discussions revolving around suicide prevention, and especially also the moderator and the speakers for the day, for the evening. Thank you so much for shedding proper light and information regarding how suicide is preventable. And this comes in handy when we have September being September World Suicide Prevention Month. As on this year is changing the narrative towards suicide prevention. Your work and your contributions have gone a long way in helping us and helping the listeners also demystify some of the issues that are not well known about suicide, and to know that suicide is preventable and we can all come together to change the narrative that surrounds suicide. I read somewhere, and actually, it is well proven scientifically that men are more than suicide than women because of the nature of putting to ourselves. And when I hear men speaking in such a conversation, I'm encouraged to know that we are opening up and we are creating a way for us to come out of the cocoon and express our feelings, our emotions to everyone. So thank you so much. And these I also wish to invite you to this year's World Suicide Prevention Day on 10th September. We shall be having a great event at Green Park Terminus, and we shall have a walk through town to create awareness on how we can change the narrative towards suicide prevention. Otherwise, welcome on board. Those who are not members, feel welcome to Kenya YMCA. To our speakers, bravo. Thank you for being such informative. To the team that organizes this, Tito and your team, thank you so much. We look forward to next week's event, such a time. Asanteni sana, and I wish you all a good night.
Thank you so much, Chris, for also the support behind the scenes. I really want to appreciate this, and also maybe just to put on cross every Wednesday. Every Wednesday we also have Wellness Wednesday, whereby we are discussing issues regarding our wellness, led by also Kenya. And if you missed our last webinar, you can just follow from the link that I've already shared in the group. And I saw also somebody was asking about the outlines for, and I've seen Kenya has already shared one. You can also reach out to maybe to Kenya Red Cross to their outline numbers 1199. You can reach out to Ministry of Health, it's toll free at 1192, I think, and 1190 from the LVCT. I think are the numbers. And also you can reach out to us. You can just come to our office. You can always talk. For us, we have counselors who are really eager to talk to you. And maybe at the end of the day, we can already help us all in one way or another. Thank you so much. I think invited us to a membership training on 14. You're all invited to come and learn about the YMCA, what we do. And also you can also be part of the membership or the members of a certain club that you suit yourself in. Thank you so much. And I really want you a very great night. And also we shall also be having messages of hope during this month, and we shall be sharing it to our social media. If you want to share a message, maybe you can just share a message with us and we shall create a poster for you. Yeah. Thank you and have a pleasant night. Good night.